Welcome. If you are a treasurer for an entity within the order, or someone doing a bank reconciliation for a chapter or for an assembly, then this video is for you. Whether you manage a separate bank account or your funds are held by your church, I am going to walk you through how to do a basic bank reconciliation step by step. What is a bank reconciliation? It is very simply a summary of banking and business activity that reconciles an entity's bank account with its financial records. But you may ask, why are we doing this reconciliation? Comparing your records with the bank's records or the church's records to make sure that all transactions match on a monthly basis helps you catch errors early, keeps your financial records accurate, and protects your chapter and assembly's funds. It's also part of being a good steward of the money that has been entrusted to you. Basically, we are telling a story about the difference, if any, between the bank's balance and our balance for a specific account. To prepare for reconciling your bank account, you will need these documents. The first thing is a check register or expense tracker. This is your list of money going in and out of your account. Next is the bank statement or the church's activity report showing the financial transactions. You can see the beginning and ending balances of the stated period and all the transactions during the period. And finally, a reconciliation sheet to document your work. For this training, we are using a sample chapter's check register. An example of a bank statement, and the bank reconciliation report found on page Appendix D8 in the Treasurer's Manual. Be sure to check the website for any updates to the Treasurer's Manual before proceeding. You may also use the format for reconciliation that is found on the back of your bank statement. So let's start with the bank statement. Start by reviewing the statement or the church's financial report line by line for each transaction listed. And look for a matching entry in your own records, in your check register in this example. So let's say the first item on the bank statement is a $1,000 deposit on January 1st. Find that deposit in your records, and since it matches, mark it with a C for cleared. Then on the bank statement, either highlight it or make a check mark by it. For this purpose, I'm going to highlight it just to show that we've already matched this transaction on the bank statement and no further action is required. Then we can go on to the next transaction. The next item you'll see is check 2031 for $200. And looking at the check register, we also see the check number 2031 for $200. So we're going to put a C next to that on our register and highlight it here. We'll continue to repeat this process. Next, we see $73.98 on the bank statement for check number 2032. And we have that same transaction on our register. So we're going to put a C in the register and highlight the bank statement. The last thing that we see on the bank statement is 32 cents of interest that we earned during the statement period. But we do not see the interest recorded on the check register. So this is where we would take a moment to add that in. According to the bank, the interest was added to the account on January 31st. So we are going to note that as a deposit and add it as interest earned to our account register, thereby increasing our register balance. We will then mark it with a C as cleared and also highlight the item on the bank statement to indicate that we reviewed that item and no further action is needed. Now that we have identified everything on our bank statement, we can move on to step 3. We are now ready to complete the reconciliation form. You might have noticed that there are transactions that are not recorded on the bank statement that we have recorded on our check register. It looks like we have written a couple of checks that have not yet cleared the bank. Most likely they will clear during the next statement period. We also have a deposit recorded, but we either haven't had a chance to take it to the bank or the bank hasn't reported it yet. These are known as outstanding deposits and outstanding checks or payments. Now we take this information to help complete our reconciliation sheet. As was explained earlier, we are telling a story of why there's a difference between the balance in our check register and the balance on the bank statement. We start by entering the ending balance on the bank statement. On our example, the bank's closing balance is $1,272.34. Then we are going to add that outstanding deposit, the one that the bank doesn't show yet. So we add that on January 29th, we had a deposit of donations received for $500. If we had more, we would add them here and then provide a total in this column. Now we subtotal by adding our total outstanding deposits to our ending bank balance. Next, we move on to identifying any outstanding checks or payments. We see that check number 2033 has not cleared the bank yet. So we add check number 2033, written to the Daughters of the King for the Ministry Education Fund, in the amount of $1,000. We also enter check number 2034, dated January 28th, for $54.78. This was written to Sally to reimburse her for her Uber to the airport. If we had more checks or withdrawals, we would add them here and then provide a total in this column. By subtracting the outstanding checks or payments from our previous subtotal, we now calculate the adjusted bank balance. In our case, the adjusted bank balance is $717.56. On the next line, we enter the balance of our check register. As we can see from our example, we have a balance of $717.56. We then determine if there is a difference between these two numbers. In our example, we find that the two numbers are equal and there is no difference. Therefore, we have successfully completed the reconciliation. The person completing the reconciliation should now sign and date the document. Please note that someone other than the treasurer should complete the bank reconciliation whenever possible. However, we understand that in very small entities, the treasurer may have to complete the reconciliation, then provide the form and all supporting documents to the executive committee for review. The completed bank reconciliation should be kept with the financial records of the entity in support of preparing the financial statements as required. You can find more information about record keeping in Section 4 of the Treasurer's Manual. Congratulations! You have taken the process step by step and completed a bank reconciliation. But what if it doesn't balance? First of all, don't panic. Check the math on your reconciliation and check register. Verify the accuracy of information entered on the reconciliation and in your register. Check the date on the bank statement and its balance to ensure you are working with the correct information. Check for any missing, duplicated, mismatched, or incorrect transactions by again comparing the transactions in your accounting records with your bank statement. If after going through these steps, you are still not able to reconcile your account, please feel free to contact the national office. We are happy to help you. We pray that this video has increased your knowledge, confidence, and skill in completing a bank reconciliation as part of your duties as a treasurer in the order. We thank you for your dedication and willingness to serve for His sake.